I just wasted 6 months of my life, Marcus. 6 months on a project that I knew from day one was a mistake, but I kept my mouth shut because he was the boss.
And that silence didn't just cost you time, Emma. It cost the company $500,000, and more importantly, it cost you the promotion you were promised last December.
Exactly. Being a yes man didn't make me a loyal employee, it made me a scapegoat. Welcome to Business English for Success. I'm Emma, and if you are tired of being the person who has to fix the boss's bad ideas while your career stays stuck, this video is for you.
I'm Marcus. We're turning dry business English into easy business English that actually protects your paycheck. Today, we aren't talking about being nice. We're talking about constructive pushback, the high-level skill of telling your boss they are wrong without ever using the word wrong.
If you don't learn this, you will always be the worker bee while people with half your talent move into leadership because they knew how to pivot a strategy.
Stay with us. In this deep dive, we are giving you the tactical scripts that executives use to challenge each other. But pay close attention, because in just a few minutes, we're going to reveal the invisible tax you are paying every single day you stay silent. You won't believe how much it's actually costing you.
Let's stop being invisible. Let's start being indispensable. You said something earlier that hit me, Marcus. You called silence a tax. What did you mean by that?
Think about it, Emma. Every time you see a flaw in a plan and stay quiet, you are paying a tax in the form of extra hours, weekend work, and stress. Because when that flaw inevitably explodes, who do you think is going to stay late to fix it? Not the boss, you.
That's painful because it's so true. We think we are saving face for the boss, but we're actually just building a cage for ourselves.
Exactly. Top leaders don't actually like yes people. They find them boring and dangerous. If you only tell me what I want to hear, you're not an advisor. You're an expense.
And expense, that's brutal. So how do we move from being an expense to a strategic partner?
It starts with changing your vocabulary. In easy business English, we use phrases like risk mitigation or scalability lens instead of saying no.
That sounds so much more professional. But wait, I've tried being professional before and my boss just ignored me. Why?
We've just seen how staying silent is a tax on your life, but even if you have the right words, they are useless if you say them at the wrong time. That's where the status window comes in. If you stay for the next section, I'm going to show you the exact psychological moment when a boss is actually hungry for your feedback.
Okay, I'm ready. Tell me about this status window, because in my experience, bosses always seem too busy or too proud to listen.
Most people try to push back when the concrete is dry, meaning the boss has already announced the plan to the whole department. At that point, if they listen to you, they look weak. Their status is at risk.
Ah, so by speaking up late, I'm actually attacking their authority.
Exactly. You need to find them in the draft stage, when they are still in problem-solving mode. Use a phrase like, I think I found a way to optimize the resource allocation. Do you have a moment to pivot on this?
Optimize, pivot. It's not fixing a mistake, it's optimizing a win.
Now you're getting it. You are helping them win. And when you help a leader win, they make sure you win too.
So we've learned how to find the right window and the right win-win words. But let's be honest, that works for a reasonable boss. What about the nightmare boss, the alpha who thinks they are the smartest person in any room?
If you use the wrong word with an alpha, it's game over.
Those are the ones I'm terrified of.
Well, don't go anywhere, because in the next section, we're going to reveal the ego neutralizer. It's a 3-step linguistic formula specifically designed to handle alphas. I've seen it turn an angry boss into a supportive mentor in less than 60 seconds.
60 seconds? Okay, I need to hear this. Let's get into the ego neutralizer. You mentioned the alpha boss, Marcus. We all know that person, the one who speaks the loudest, interrupts everyone, and treats every suggestion like a personal attack. Honestly, just thinking about challenging someone like that makes my stomach turn.
It's a natural reaction, Emma, but here's the secret. Alpha personalities don't want yes people. They want winners. They respect strength, but it has to be strategic strength, not aggressive strength. This is where the ego neutralizer comes in.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the formula? Is it complicated?
Not at all. It's 3 simple steps: align, pivot, and ask. First, you align with their goal. You say something like, I'm 100% with you on hitting that $1 million target. You've just signaled that you are on their team, no threat.
Okay, so you lower their guard first. Then what?
Then you pivot. You don't use the word but. Never use but with an alpha. Use and. Say, and to make sure we don't hit any roadblocks that could slow us down, I've been looking at the logistics.
Wow, that's subtle. You're not saying their plan is bad. You're saying you want to prevent roadblocks to their success.
Exactly. And the final step is to ask. Instead of telling them what to do, you put the power back in their hands. You ask, given your experience, how do you think we should handle the risk of X?
That is brilliant. You've pointed out the flaw, but you've invited them to be the hero who solves it. I feel like I could actually use that without getting fired.
So far, we've learned how to challenge even the loudest alpha boss without triggering their ego. But this formula completely fails if you don't have the evidence shield. Without it, an alpha boss will tear your argument apart in seconds. Stay with us because in the next section, we're going to show you how to present data so effectively that the boss feels like it was their idea to change the plan all along.
So Marcus, we just talked about the ego neutralizer, but you said it fails without the evidence shield. I think a lot of us make the mistake of bringing too much data to a meeting and just putting everyone to sleep.
Exactly. Executives don't want a 50-page report. They want insight. The evidence shield isn't about how much data you have. It's about how you frame it to protect your point of view.
So how do we frame it without sounding like a boring textbook?
You use the alternative impact technique. Instead of saying, the data shows this is wrong, you show 2 paths. Path A is the boss's idea with the potential hidden cost. Path B is your suggestion with the potential gain.
So you're painting a picture. You're saying, if we go this way, we might lose 10% of our customers. If we go this way, we retain them and save $50,000.
Now you're speaking easy business English. You see, you didn't use any complex jargon. You used impact language. When you present data this way, you aren't challenging the boss anymore. You are consulting the boss.
It feels like you're taking the emotion out of it. It's no longer about who is right, it's about what the numbers are telling us.
Exactly. It makes you look incredibly objective and professional. However, Emma, there is one more level to this. We've mastered the art of using data to consult rather than conflict. But what happens when the boss agrees with your data but says, I hear you, but we're doing it my way anyway? It's like hitting a brick wall. In the next part, I'm going to share the executive deadlock, a last resort phrase so powerful it forces the boss to stop and reconsider their entire position to protect their own reputation.
A last resort phrase. Okay, Marcus, you've got my attention. Let's get into the heavy hitters. Okay, Marcus, we've used the ego neutralizer, we've shown the evidence shield, but let's be real. Sometimes the boss just says, I understand, but my decision stands. It feels like all that effort was for nothing.
I know that feeling, Emma. It's frustrating. But this is the moment that separates the amateurs from the executives. When you hit this deadlock, you have one final move. I call it the liability pivot.
The liability pivot? That sounds intense. Is it risky to use?
It's only risky if you use it with a bad attitude. But if you say it professionally, it's a career saver. Here's the phrase. I respect the decision, Marcus. To make sure I'm fully aligned, how would you like me to handle the reporting if the risk we discussed begins to materialize?
Oh, that is genius. You aren't saying, I told you so. You are asking for instructions on how to manage the failure you already predicted.
Exactly. You've just put the responsibility, the liability, back on their shoulders. When a boss hears that, they suddenly realize, wait, if this fails, Emma has a record that she warned me. And 80% of the time, they will stop and reconsider.
It's like a reality check delivered in a silk glove.
So, we've learned the ultimate phrase to protect your career when a boss refuses to listen. But even with the best phrases, your vibe can ruin everything. If your English intonation sounds like you're complaining, the words will fail. Stay with us for the next part, because we are going to master the tone of authority. I'll show you how to sound like a partner instead of a problem, just by changing your pitch.
You're so right, Marcus. I've seen people say the right things, but their voice has this, defensive edge to it. It makes the boss want to argue back just because of the energy in the room.
Exactly, Emma. In easy business English, your tone is 50% of your vocabulary. To sound like an authority, you need to use downward inflection.
Downward inflection. What does that sound like?
It's about certainty. Listen to the difference. I think we should reconsider versus I think we should reconsider.
Wow, the first one sounds like you're asking for permission to have an opinion. The second one sounds like a professional recommendation.
Bingo. You have to remove the question mark from your statements. Value doesn't ask for permission to exist.
I think we should reconsider. Okay, I felt more powerful just saying that.
Now you have the words, the timing, and the tone of a true leader. But theory is one thing, real life is another. It's easy to talk about it here, but what happens when a boss is actually shouting or rushing you? In the next section, we are going to do a live role play. I'm going to be the angry boss, and Emma has to survive using everything she's learned. You'll want to see if she can handle the pressure.
Okay, an angry boss roleplay? Okay, I'm scared, but I'm ready. Let's see if these tools actually work under fire. Okay, Marcus, you said you were going to be a difficult boss. I've got my notes ready. I'm ready to use the ego neutralizer and the liability pivot. Let's do this.
Emma, why are we even having this meeting? I've already decided we are launching the software update this Friday. I don't care if the QA team says it's risky. We need to show the board progress, period.
Marcus, I completely agree that showing progress to the board is our top priority right now. We need that win.
Exactly. So why are you trying to slow me down with these concerns?
And because I want that win to be permanent, I've looked at the data from the last launch. If we release with these bugs, the board will see a 20% drop in user retention by Monday. That might make the progress look like a failure in their eyes.
20%? Is that a real number, or are you just being cautious?
It's based on the alpha test results, Marcus. However, if we delay by just 48 hours to patch the critical bugs, we can present a flawless launch to the board. Given your experience with the board's expectations, how do you think they would react to a flawless launch on Sunday versus a broken one on Friday?
Wow, Emma, that was perfect. You made your way look like the boss's way.
Phew, my heart was actually pounding, but it worked.
We've just seen how to survive a high-pressure confrontation with a boss who is rushing for results. But what if you aren't talking to a boss? What if it's a high-value client who pays your entire salary? If they get annoyed, they don't just get angry, they take their money and leave. In the next part, we are going to master the investment protection frame, the only safe way to challenge a client while making them want to pay you more.
You know, Marcus, pushing back on a boss is one thing. They are your colleague. But a client? Isn't it safer to just do whatever they ask to keep the contract?
That is the biggest mistake professionals make. If you always do exactly what a client asks, even when you know it's wrong, you aren't an expert. You're just an order taker. And order takers are easily replaced by someone cheaper.
So, to keep our value high, we have to push back sometimes. But how do we do it without sounding ungrateful?
You use the investment protection frame. You say, because I want to ensure the highest ROI on your investment, I recommend we avoid option X and focus on option Y.
Investment protection. I love that. No client is going to get mad at you for protecting their money.
Exactly. It's about being a trusted advisor. Advisors tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable.
We've now covered how to protect your status with both bosses and clients. But there is one final type of boss we haven't touched yet, the most dangerous one, the passive-aggressive boss. The one who says yes to your face, but then sabotages your idea the moment you leave the room. In the next part, we are going to reveal the clarification trap. It's a psychological move that forces a sneaky boss to be honest and support you in public.
I need that skill. Let's get into the clarification trap in part 9.
Marcus, we have to talk about the shadow boss. You know, the one who nods during the meeting, says, "That's a great point, Emma," but then nothing happens. Or worse, they send an email later that completely contradicts everything we agreed on.
Ah, the passive-aggressive pivot. It's a classic defensive move. They don't want the conflict in person, so they sabotage the yes later. To handle this, you need the clarification trap.
A trap? That sounds a bit dangerous. How does it work?
It's a helpful trap, Emma. It's about public accountability. When they give you that vague, fake yes, you immediately follow up with a confirmation of ownership.
What does that sound like in easy business English?
You say, I'm glad we're aligned on the new direction, Marcus. To ensure there's no bottleneck, I'll send a summary of our agreed path to the team by 5 p.m. today. Does that work for you?
Oh, I see. By telling them you are going to inform the entire team, you are forcing them to speak up now if they disagree. You are putting their yes on the record.
Exactly. Passive-aggressive bosses hate being on the record. If they are planning to change their mind, they have to do it before you send that email. It pushes the pushback into the light.
We've now mastered how to handle everyone from the loud alpha to the sneaky shadow boss. But none of these tactical scripts will work if you don't have the right internal compass. If you don't believe you belong at the table, your voice will always shake. Stay with us for the final section because we are going to give you the mental checklist to transform from a worker bee into a strategic leader. Marcus, looking back at our conversation, it's amazing how much business English is actually about human psychology. It's not just about the words, it's about the strategy behind the words.
You hit the nail on the head, Emma. Remember, everyone watching, your boss is not your parent. They are your customer. And a good customer wants the best result for their money. By providing constructive pushback, you are delivering the highest level of service possible.
So the next time you feel that fear in your chest during a meeting, remember the ego neutralizer, the status window, and the liability pivot. You aren't being difficult, you are being essential.
Let's do a quick recap. 1. Align before you pivot. 2. Use and instead of but. 3. Focus on the ROI and the risk, not the person. And 4. Always, always protect the boss's ego in public.
If you found value in today's deep dive, please hit that like button. It really helps us bring more easy business English to professionals around the world. And I have a question for you. What is the one situation where you find it hardest to challenge an idea? Drop it in the comments. Marcus and I will be reading and replying to as many as we can.
We really want to hear your stories. Because your career growth is the reason we do this. Don't forget to subscribe for our next video, where we'll be discussing how to handle negative feedback without losing your confidence.
Thank you for spending your time with us today at Business English for Success. Go out there, speak with authority, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care, everyone. Keep optimizing.